Hello, my friends. It's Chris, Coach B. Biffle, and this is November 10th, and we have a doozy of a webcast tonight, Reforming Challenging Kids. Who's excited just by the title, by the promise, by the hope, by the glory of Reforming Challenging Kids? Talking to my online audience, let's see who's truly excited out there. Here's my online audience. Oh, Abhorn says woohoo. Kelly Avery, who's got a real doozy of a challenging kid, says whoop whoop. Teacher in South Dakota says it'd be a miracle. Excited in Kansas, says S. Rebel. Let's reform them, says Regular. All right, here we go, my friends. You know, challenging kids are our specialty. Let's just talk a little bit about this. We developed some new teaching techniques here in Southern California about 15 years ago, and we started giving away and holding seminars, and we'd get about 20 or 30 teachers on a Saturday, which, as you know, is pretty good. But I tell you, when we started offering seminars on challenging kids, poof, we went from 40 to 90 to 400 to turning away 500. The number one problem in American education, and I want to see who agrees with me, is challenging kids. It's not reading, it's not writing. It's not critical thinking even. It's kids who are hijacking classrooms and keeping other kids from learning. Is there any sense of agreement out there? Would you agree that, have you ever noticed when the challenging kid, bless their soul, when the challenging kid is absent, the class is transformed? Who's on board with me that, yes, it's all about challenging kids? And you know what? We never read about that in the newspaper. Yes, says Lori Puckett. Yes, says Teacher SD. Joyce Cerie says she agrees. Kelly Avery says it's amazing when she's gone. So different when they're not. Their Regular says 10% create 90% of the havoc. All right, look. We're making a big change in whole brain teaching. I will occasionally, often refer to this particular student population as challenging kids, but the name we're going to move towards, in fact, I wish we discovered it years ago. Does anybody remember from last week what the new name is, the new moniker is for a challenging kids? Who remembers from last week? That's right, says Holt in Texas. Beloved rascals. These are our beloved rascals. And if we don't help them, they may not get help. So God brought these beloved rascals to us. Yes, I will occasionally mention the word God. If that offends you, I just can't believe it would offend you, because there's all kind of offensive stuff out there. So yeah, God brought us these beloved rascals, and it's the best way to think about these wonderful kids. All right. So, who has bought the book, Whole Brain Teaching for Challenging Kids? If you don't have any challenging kids, you're missing the action. Buy our book for desperate colleagues. If you bought the book, Roseanne in Georgia, did you write a nice review? Did you write a nice review for us? I'd love to know. Andre is in the house. Andre, our middle school specialist. Andre and I are looking forward to having fun in early January. We're going to give a conference together in Louisiana. Hey, anybody want to come to a conference in Louisiana with me and Andre? I mean, what could be better? I think is it Andre, January 5th, January 6th? All right. The show tonight is simple and powerful, and it reduces your workload. Do I have your attention now? Simple and powerful and reduces your workload. We are one of the world's most popular education websites. Why? Because it's free and it's fun and it works. That's why. Here are my two friends, Biffy Bluebird. Hiya, Biffy. Hi, Coach. And Smarty Wonderbeak. Hey, Coach. Biffy, what do we do if someone wants a copy of these slides or needs professional development credit? Well, Coach, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm sorry. Smarty, tell us. Easy breezy lemon squeezy. Details are at the end of this program. Anyone out there using these programs for professional development credit? I'd love to know. So, here's the question. How do you reach challenging kids? That's what you're sitting there wondering. How do you reach challenging kids? Simple, powerful, and reduces your workload. All right, my friends. We have two methods of reforming challenging kids. Change the class or change the kid. This week we're going to look at A. You'll learn how to change your class not only to reduce challenging behavior, but also dramatically improve every student's engagement in lessons. Next week we look at B. Everybody clear? How do you reform challenging kids? Change your class, change the kid. Best of all, change them both. We're going to talk about the class this week. Some classes breed, nourish, and grow challenging kids. Tell me, my dear online audience, have you ever in your teaching career taught in such a way that you were breeding, nourishing, and growing challenging kids right under your nose? That your teaching technique was water and plant food for challenging kids? We want classes that breed, nourish, and grow deeply engaged students. So we have to change the culture of the classroom so that the challenging kids are not popping up so much. Here's a true story. Absolutely true. A teacher once told me that he had 33 kids, mostly boys, and the whole class was challenging. I suggested he look at his roll and count the challengers. Later he admitted a third of them weren't challenging. You can't see the big picture until you look at the big picture. In education, the big picture is always changing. Here's the deal. When you got a challenging kid, it's like they're right here and that's all you see. Change the culture and the environment. You're going to see some progress. You might say, well, how do I change the culture and environment so that I'm not breeding challenging kids? That's what we're talking about tonight. Here you go. This is it. Short stairway to teaching heaven, 4 steps only. 1. Calculate the classroom engagement average weekly, rating kids 4 high to 1 low. I'll talk about that. Don't panic. I'm going to talk about each of these things. Then train student leaders. I'll tell you how to train student leaders. Pair your leaders with challenging kids and then use star cards to move 3s, 2s, and 1s towards 4s. That's it. And you don't know what star cards are yet, but you're going to love them. I'm taking a drink. This is just star cards. Notice the boldface. That's where the self-managing part of the classroom management thing comes in. It's the star cards. All right. Everything you need tonight. Let's get started. All right, let's get the big picture. Here's the beauty of this. No one can stop you. No challenging kid can stop you from getting the big picture. Every week privately score your kids. Classes improve so slowly you need a way to tell where you're going. So, an alpha is a kid who always follows directions quickly, or almost always, who looks at the one who's teaching, who turns in neat work. Give yourself a 4 for every alpha. All right. Online audience. Real fast, just think about it. How many alphas do you have? They follow directions quickly. They look at you when you're teaching. They turn in neat work. How many alphas do you have? Rusty has 2. Holt has 5 or 6. Someone else has 7 out of 18. Somebody else has 2 or 3. Someone else has 5-ish. Those are your alphas. Here's the thing. What you're doing with your alphas is basically nothing. Say, oh, I don't have to worry about those kids. I'm taking off the glasses right now. Students are our most underutilized resource in education. What are you doing with your alphas? Praising them and just thanking God that they aren't causing trouble. Your alphas are golden. Let's do something with, listen to me, let's do something with these potential assistant teachers. You see? You see where this is going? That's an alpha. All right. Now, here's the screen. Your alphas, you give yourself a 4 for each one. We call the next one go-alongs. A go-along goes along with an alpha, but isn't quite as consistent. They often follow directions quickly. They often look at the one who's teaching. They often turn in neat work. Give yourself a 3 for every go-along. So, online audience. How many 4s do you have? How many 3s do you have? Just do it just off the top of your head, my friend. How many 4s and how many 3s? I'm taking a drink. Nancy has 4 4s and 7 3s. Teacher in South Dakota has 9 4s out of 15. 5 4s and 10 3s. 4 3s, says Lou. 4 4s and 8 3s. 3 to 4 4s and 7 or 8 3s. 7 4s and 8 3s. You see? Let me say this again. We all have 4s and we all have 3s, and what do we do with them? Nothing. They just sit there being 4s and 3s. There's a ton of research that shows kids learn more when they're teaching each other. The lower kid and the higher kid. It's going to get better, my friend. I'm just warming up. So back to the screen. Now, a fence sitter is an unusual child because one day they're wonderful and the next day you wonder what got into their milk. They're on one day and they're off another. They occasionally follow directions quickly. They occasionally look at the one who's teaching. They occasionally turn in neat work. Give yourself a 2 for every fence sitter. All right. How many fence sitters do you have, online audience? You know, on again, off again. Tell us, online audience, how many do you have? Addie has 3, Marianne has 5. Helen Bowe says, that's the majority of my classes. Nancy has 12 fence sitters. And Nancy is an experienced whole brain teacher. I'll bet you didn't have so many at the start of the year. Nancy has 30 kids. 4 in each class, says Holt. All right, that's fence sitters. And now, challenging kid. They rarely follow directions quickly. They rarely look at the one who's teaching. They rarely turn in neat work, and give yourself a 1 for every challenging kid. All right. Kelly Avery, how many truly challenging kids do you have? My friends, Liz from Elizabeth, how many beloved rascals? Thank you. How many beloved, lovely little rascals do you have? 5 out of 18, says Rusty. Nancy's got 7. Joycery, you are blessed. You don't have any. Kath Ave has 5 ones. 5 or 6, says Helen. It's a tough crowd, says Nancy. Nancy, I know you. They're not going to be tough for very long. All right, let's check this out. Now here's your next step. Add up the scores and divide by the number of students. So if all the scores total 60 and you've got 20 students, 60 divided by 30, your classroom engagement average is 2. Get it? That's the big picture. That's everybody. You need to calculate this weekly because it's going to change weekly. In general, if you follow our suggestions, it's going to go up. But every week, take a picture, a data picture, not of your smartest kids, not of your test scores. Listen to me. Is there anything else that matters besides student engagement? The data we're getting is test score data or referral data or absentee data. We're only worried about one number in whole brain teaching. Student engagement. Some of your alphas could be your lowest kids, but they're focused on you. You understand what I'm saying? Student engagement average, that's the big picture. And if you've got other whole brain teachers in your school, get together and average the averages. What is going on in 4 or 5 classes? All right, everybody on board, everybody understand the classroom engagement average. Andre, who's got some tough middle school kids, says absolutely. Tall Man has got it. Nancy's got it. Liz from Elizabeth has got it. Blizzard, you've got an average of 2. Here's the situation. With a classroom engagement average of 2.0, you have a class full of fence sitters. 60 divided by 30 is 2. And I'm going to change my numbers here because I had 20 students. I'm upping it to 30 students. Thank you very much. Do middle school teachers really do this? Well, we have one online, Andre. My question is, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they get a picture of their class as a whole in terms of its engagement? When you got the picture, you can figure out what to do about it. All right. Here we are. And the big question is this. What are you going to do? So you got the average. Jenny Y.O. teaches high school, and I bet she uses it. What are you going to do now that you got the average? Watch me. You're going to train your alphas to be student leaders. I'm wiggling this around. Solve the easiest to solve problems first. Now, how do you train student leaders? You're going to turn your alphas into student leaders. You're going to train them in 5 things. Class yes, scoreboard response, teach okay demos, leading rules, and delivering lessons in that order. So this is a guide of great clarity in how to train student leaders. Anybody thrilled out there to find out how to train a student leader? This is crucial. It's easy, but just do it in steps. Online audience. Kelly Avery can't wait for that training. Holton, Texas says yes. All right, here's how we do it. Now pay attention, my friends. Practice with your student leaders at least 3 times per week. Personally, I'd practice with them every day. It only has to be a couple of minutes. Many short practices are more productive than a few long ones. Make the practices fun. Now, let's go skill by skill. Training student leaders to model the class yes response. Outside of class, model how quickly you want your leaders to respond when you say class or class or class-a-doodle. Emphasize that hands should be folded when they say class. Make it fun. Switch roles and let your pupils be the teacher and you the student leader. When your kids are ready, have them demonstrate the correct class yes response in class several times a day. So that you don't push your kids too fast, always practice one more time after you think your kids are ready for a classroom demonstration, then go to class. So, we train student leaders the way we do everything in nice little scaffolded steps. You've probably got 100 days of teaching left. You've got time, little step by little step. You want confident student leaders. Just teach them how to respond to your class with yes, and their hands are folded. Phase 1, very, very easy. Everybody with me on the wonderful ease of phase 1 in my online audience. Tall Man says yes, sir. Karen B says yes. M. Carlson's on board. First grade in New York says yes. Marsh says easy breezy. All right. Make it simple, make it fun. So class yes is all you're trying to get to. Step 2. Model how you want them to respond to the scoreboard. Outside of class, make imaginary marks on a scoreboard. Model the speed and energy of the mighty oh yeah you want when you make a positive mark. Do the same for mighty groan. Ask your kids to practice each response. Make it fun. Switch roles and let your student leaders mark imaginary scoreboard marks. You demonstrate outstanding speed and energy in responding. When they're ready, have them demonstrate the correct scoreboard responses in class several times a day. Note this, they don't have to stand up. They have to do almost nothing but quickly. So when you say class, they say yes like this. That's 2 seconds that we're asking the master. They can do it. When you put an imaginary mark, they go, oh yeah, or ooh. Give them simple tasks, a little teeny bit at a time. You want confident leaders, not overwhelmed leaders. You're not shoving them into the spotlight. You're just giving them little things they can do that are really crucial in their seat. And yes, you tell them that they are your class leaders. everybody on board with simple leadership tasks scaffolded, where no kid has to stand in the spotlight until they're ready. Simple that builds, says Nancy. They are eventually doing an exceptional job with the rest of class. Yes, you tell them that they're leaders. You can't keep it secret. When you tell the class that you have some leaders, listen to me. Tell the class that you've got some leaders. Let them see how much fun it is to be a leader. Say to the class, if you would like to be a leader, see me after class. Those kids come up after class and they will say, listen, if you just do a better job on following Rule 1, man, you might be on that leadership team. I'm taking off my glasses. You may have a challenging kid who will go from a 4 to a leader like that because they want the spotlight. Teachers, you have the experience. Anybody out there, their intuition tells them, I got a 1. If I could give them the opportunity to be a leader, that kid might jump 4 spaces. 1 to 4. Who's got some kids like that? M. Carlson says yes. Just crave attention. You've got a rascal like that. Isn't that interesting? All right, here's phase 3. Demo the teach okay. When class isn't in session, hold a practice in your room, deliver a sample lesson, finishing with teach. Show your student leaders how to rapidly turn and begin teaching a neighbor with big gestures. Make it fun. Let them role play the teacher and you as a student model excellent teach okay techniques. When you think your kids are ready, have them demo in class several times a day the correct response when you say teach. Again, we've done 3 things here. The class, yes, they can do in their seats. The mighty groan, the mighty oh yeah, they can do in their seats. The full turn with gestures, they can do in their seats. Now you tell me how long you think it's going to take to get to phase 3 and tell us your grade level. Just what your intuition tell you. How long will it take to train your leaders to be able to say yes with their hands folded? How long will it take them to demonstrate the quick and short scoreboard response? How long to get to phase 3 so that they just know to, okay, and I'm teaching. Maybe 5 days in 2nd grade, says Roseanne in Georgia. That would be incredible. I think that's a little fast, Roseanne. All 3 in a week, says Marsh. 2 to 3 days, says Nancy. Go slow. You've got a long year. A few days in 5th. About 3 days, says Jeff Battle. Love having Jeff in middle school online with Andre. All right. Now lead the rules. When class isn't in session, hold a practice in your room. When you point at a student leader, they quickly stand, and as their bottom leaves the chair, they exclaim, class. As their bottom leaves the chair, then they say, energetically lifting their hands, mirror words. Then they say rule 1. Make it fun. Role play the student leader and they role play the responding class. Have student leaders just do 1 rule at a time. Here's the crucial piece, and this is why we're working on it. You point at a kid, they say, class as they rise. We want no pauses. A pause could be filled by giggles. Giggles could turn in an avalanche quickly of nonsensical behavior. You point at a kid, they say, class, as they rise. Mirror words. No pauses. Don't stop the train. Everybody on board with the importance of having no pauses in here because we don't want the giggling, eye rolling, opportunity for anybody to say anything wacky. That's why I say right here, my friend, don't go on to step 2 until they've mastered step 1. Get them to say class as they rise. So this is a short, simple course in training student leaders, and here's where you want to get to. And I think even kindergartners can get here. You want them to be able to deliver a lesson. We talked about this pattern a couple of weeks ago. They say class, they say mirror words. They should paraphrase some lesson. Here's the deal, my friends. It makes no sense to train student leaders unless you've got something for them to learn. You know how, I'm sorry, I'm taking off the glasses. You know how we're using student leaders? To clean erasers and to hand out paper? If you had a talented teacher who was an assistant in your class, would you have her hand out papers? Or would you have her do something to help you with the challenging kids? Train your student leaders. It's a year-long project. Add other kids to the group. Say to the class, these are my student leaders. Who would nominate some other kids to be in this group? Make them hungry to be in this privileged group. Short practices many times a week. Here it is. Proceed in small, easy to master steps as in previous training sessions. You'll be delighted to find that students will pay more attention to a student leader's lesson than yours. I'll say that again. Your kids will listen to student leaders more carefully than they listen to you. A good reason to get student leaders cooking. So here we are. Here's the first flow chart. Move your alphas to 5s. When you have a student leader, they're no longer a 4, they're a 5. Everybody dig that. An alpha, which was a 4, now becomes a 5. Just that step is going to improve your classroom engagement average, as it should. Your classroom engagement average should go up if you've got some assistant teachers in class. You understand what I'm saying? Train the student leaders, solve the easy to solve problems first. You decide, it's your class, Denise. What does it take for a kid to be a student leader in your class? Maybe a week or 2. Go slow, you've got enough time. Now here is step 2. So obvious. Seat your leaders with your challenging kids. Student leaders are assistant teachers. I'll show you the whole screen. Student leaders are assistant teachers. Got challenging kids? You need lots of help. The better trained your student leaders, the more energetic lessons your kids will see and hear, whether or not they participate. I'm a challenging kid. I got a student leader here who listens to the teacher's lesson and then repeats it back to me with energy. So I'm seeing and hearing the lesson even if I don't open my mouth. I see and hear it twice. Automatic engagement. My problem with having groups larger than 2 is that if you have a group of 4, you got 2 kids who aren't working. That's just my 2 cents. So, here's the point. The constant company of a student leader will go a long way in reforming the behavior of a challenging kid. Who agrees with me? The constant company of a well-trained student leader will go a long way in reforming the behavior of a challenging kid. These are the kids who don't laugh at the crummy jokes, who don't participate in the silliness and the nonsense. All right. Here we go. This is the biggie. Here comes the biggie. I can tell my online audience is excited. And I know I've got some people here who've been to many of these. And you know when I say here comes the biggie, or here, this is going to be big, you know it's going to be big. All I want to know is, are you ready? Are you ready for the biggie? That's what I want to know. A lot of people are ready. This is the biggie. So what have we done so far? Trained student leaders, steps in training, sat them next to the ones we keep training them. Here's the biggie. I've been working on this idea for 2 or 3 weeks. Nancy will tell you, Jeff will tell you, Andre will tell you. I've been working on this idea. It is polished and ready and well deserving of the title Biggie. Here's what you do. You use star cards to move 3s, 2s, and 1s toward alphas. I haven't told you what a star card is, but look at the beauty of the flow chart. Alphas to leaders, leaders seated with challenging kids, and our 3s, 2s, and 1s doing something called star cards and moving them to alphas. That is the simple, powerful picture. And that goes on all year long. The star cards, I'm going to build this up. The star cards, which we've been working on for a long time, we've completely removed all the work that a teacher has to put in. The star cards are the self-managing classroom management system. Just set aside what you heard before. That's the problem of working with Coach B, is that he keeps repolishing that shiny jewel. Here it is. Check it out. Here it is. It's a biggie. Give a few kids no more than 5 star cards. Label each card with a target behavior you want them to improve. Here it is in boldface. The kids self-tally whenever they're engaging in the behavior. At the end of the day, you assess the results. After a week or so, if they hit their target consistently, give them a star on the Super Improver team. That's the huge piece I've been missing. They self-tally on the star cards. So if you pick something like, look at the one who's teaching, they're going to tally every time they're looking at the one who's teaching. You're not telling them. They just tally, 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 tally. And then you just look at the star card at the end of the day. Self-reflection, says Liz from Elizabeth. And you tell them, and here's the deal. Listen to me. Do not say, if you have 40 tally marks, I give you a Super Improver star. Because what's going to happen? They'll mark 40 marks. You just say, tally your behavior, show me the card at the end of the day, and I'll decide. And I'll tell you, it's going to take probably about a week. About 5 kids. No limit to the tallies. Just let them tally, tally, tally. Your challenging kid forgets to tally, but then sees the other kids tallying. You know what? If your challenging kid cheats, here's news for you. If your challenging kid cheats on the tally marks, she's bought into the star card. You don't make counterfeit money unless you want the money. So help her out with being a little bit more honest, but don't scold her. She wants the star, the Super Improver star. That's why she's cheating so furiously. Yes, my beloved rascal. So, you don't tie yourself into how many tally marks get a Super Improver star. Makes them think about their behavior. Jeff and Andre, can you use this in middle school? I totally think you can. So the beauty of self-telling is that the kids are running their own show and you don't have to do any record keeping. Self-telling star cards are a classroom management system that runs itself. Kelly, Avery, do you see the power of this? And you've got a doozy of a challenging kid. Oh, the star cards. Oh. Here's some suggested target behaviors. Now, these are things that kids do a lot. Look at the one who's teaching. You could put that on a star card. Follow directions quickly, or raise your hand for permission to speak, or use a full turn and big gestures, or fold your hands after class yes, or neat handwriting, or every sentence is longer than 5 words or 10 words, or use the brainies. Pick something that kids are going to be doing all day. And here's what I say. Initially, every star card has the same behavior. These are all things that are target behaviors. You can switch it up later on. But about 5 kids makes it special. Keep the kids in the star card for a week and then move in a new group of star carders. After a month, you've gone through most of your kids. And check this out. Here's what's so great. Here's the goals. Let me show you the goals again. Here are the target behaviors. Any of those. Pick something that you want kids to be doing a lot. And the more they're doing it, let them tally. Now, here's the thing. A week of self-tallying target behaviors on a star card can mean kids have rehearsed the behavior 50 times. 50 times! How do you like that? And throw in the star hole punch, which I still love. Once in a while, you see a great target behavior. Use a star hole punch, cut a star into a kid's card and say, star holes equal 2 tally marks. You get it? Star holes equal 2 tally marks. And the tally marks, they're just cranking them out. Check it out now. Other kids will clamor for star cards. Great, everyone is eager to self-tally behavior improvements. Change the star card group weekly. Within a month or so, most kids will have moved up 1 point in the classroom engagement average. Can you see your challenging kids doing this? Oh, yeah. Who shoves to the front of the line when there's a freebie to be had? The challenging kid. They're in control of their own show, and oh my goodness, I got a star hole punch, and that counts for 2 tallies? Yes, my friends, let's look at the pattern again. Here's the simple, powerful pattern. Use star cards to move 3s, 2s, and 1s towards alphas. Look at it again. I train my alphas to be student leaders. I sit my student leaders with my challenging kids. And my 3s, 2s, and 1s I give star cards to start moving them up to 4s. And you might say, only choose 5? I say, only choose 5 in a class of 25 or 30. It makes the other kids crazy hungry to be part of the next group. Isn't that what you want? Here's the diagram again. Just look at it. So simple. Weekly, recalculate your classroom engagement average. Week by week. Let's look at the whole thing again. Pay attention. This does not take place at the Super Improver League. Listen to me. This is part and parcel of Super Improvers because this is how they're getting a star. This is one of many ways they could get a star. You with me, Melinda? So let's look at the whole sequence again. 1, a 4 for every alpha, a 3 for every go along, a 2 for every fence sitter, and a 1 for every challenging kid. You've got to do this weekly because some kids are going to move down. That will be interesting to you. Total your classroom engagement average. Train your alphas to be leaders, and those are the 5 leadership things. Sit your leaders with your challenging kids. Move them around. And get everybody going with the star cards. There's the diagram right there. There's the year-long pattern. That's what's going to start churning kids upward. And Nancy's right. The day of the week and the time of day determines how many beloved rascals you have being rascally. And recalculate your classroom engagement average. Simple as that. One screen, there's the whole thing for changing your class. We haven't talked about changing kids, but this is how we change classes. And this will change kids. Here's our point. Rewarding for improvement should be our #1 teaching goal. Here's the summary. Calculate your classroom engagement average weekly, rating kids from 4 to 1. Train student leaders, pair leaders with challenging kids, use star cards to move people up. That's it. What are the advantages? Alphas want to be leaders. Increasingly skilled student leaders give you ongoing minute-by-minute help with challenging kids. That's a biggie. Minute-by-minute help. Star cards focus on only one target behavior all day for a week. Star cards are a self-tallying system that runs itself. You're always rewarding for improvement, not ability. The classroom management average gives you the big changing picture and the whole system is fun. So do a tally sheet and mark if you're training your student leaders up here. Here it is. The first 5 weeks, attention getters, student engagement, classroom rules, scoreboard, and teach okay. Last week, super improvers, and this week, reforming challenging kids. Here's Ms. Linenthal.
Gosh, the reforming challenging kids sounds great, but how could I get professional development credit for this broadcast and a copy of these slides?
Ms. Linenthal, how you doing?
Oh, so much better, Coach. I'm getting over a cold.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Ms. Linenthal. Here's what you can do if you want a copy of tonight's program. Go to wholebrainteaching.com, click on the PayPal button and donate $5.87. Before long, tonight within minutes, you'll get an email copy of all the slides and professional development certificate. Here's Whole Brain Teaching. There's PayPal. Put $5.87 right there, and boom, you could get it within seconds. Anybody in my online audience gotten within seconds the slides and the professional development certificate? Who's getting it within seconds? You better be, because I'm doing it. Varner K says yes. Here's the great certificate you get. And it has two sides. Now here's my question. Here's my latest idea. I'm not going to do my latest idea yet. Next week, reforming amazingly challenging kids. You got challenging, and then you got amazingly challenging. This week we talked about changing the class. Next week we talk about changing the kid. Who's on for next week? Change the class this week, change the kid next week. Yes, we got some people who are. Now here's what I want to know for future reference. For future reference, who would love a webcast on whole brain teaching for parenting? Whole brain parenting. Here's my question. What if we had a webcast called Whole Brain Teaching at Home or Whole Brain Teaching for Parents? Who would advertise this to their parents? I think we could get quite a few viewers. Wouldn't that be cool? We could even have a couple of programs for parents. We would show them how to carry on whole brain teaching at home and how to use a slightly different set of rules at home. That's coming. I got to think it through. Spanish, English, and Polish. All right. Remember, next week, amazingly challenging kids. If you want me to come to your school, I'd love to. There's my email address. Convince your administrator this is what you need to do, like Holt in Texas. And I met Ms. Holt's principal, and she's incredible, Lisa LeClaire. Now, my friends, if you want a packet, we got a bundle, 10 webcasts for only $19.99. And for twice the fun when ordering, wear a wacky hat. Here's the webcasts you get for $19.99. Universal Homework Model, Oral Writing, Super Improver's Wall, The Genius Ladder, 5-Step Lesson Template, Prove It, Mind Soccer, Brain Toys 1, Brain Toys 2, and Super Speed 1000. I know it's a ridiculously cheap price, $19.99, but if you put in $19.99 in the PayPal window, you can tell your spouse you're going on vacation to teaching heaven. All right, my friends, this is what we want to know. Another great webcast. You guys really inspire me. But what we want to know is, we want to know the makeup of our audience. So stop texting for a second. I just want to know how many pre-K and kindergarten teachers are listening tonight. Pre-K or kindergarten, just say yes. Pre-K or kindergarten. We're going to count them. Nancy, can you count them quickly? Pre-K or kindergarten? Well, we got 2. 3. I'm taking a drink. Okay, let's see what we get. If you're first grade, say me. If you're kindergarten, you say yes. Kindergarten, yes. First grade, me. Who's in first grade? That's interesting. Okay. Now let's go. I am for second grade. Yes for kinder. Me for first. I am for second grade. Now, these are all sisters of Nancy Stoltenberg. Now for third grade, just say third. Third grade says third, please. I'm thinking this up as I go along. You can note that. Let's just finish it up. Fourth says fourth, fifth says fifth, and secondary says secondary. Third says third, fourth says fourth, fifth says fifth, secondary says secondary. Or if you're sixth and you're not secondary, we want to know how to target. I'm delighted with secondary because they're close to my heart. I taught college. Surprised at the number of secondaries we have here. Wow. All right, Nancy, get those numbers. It's Coach B signing off till next week. I love simple and powerful this week. So let your places and grades just flow down the screen. Where are you from? Who are you? Where are you from, my friends? Edmond, Oklahoma, Long Beach, California, Charlotte, North Carolina, San Diego, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Louisiana, Tacoma, Washington, all over the country. Lots of viewers tonight. Ukaipa, says Kimmy Rianne. My friends, please continue your prayers for my family. We are making some progress. We thank you for your prayers, and we pray for you at night as well. So it's Coach B signing off, saying power to the teachers. See you in a week.